it. I should probably take the lens cap off.
That's probably a good idea.
Oh yeah, this looks
Mistake,
nice.
right?
Yeah. Okay, so in today's video, we're going to be talking about this new little monitor from OC, the Lilmon 5. So first off, I just want to hit on some of the biggest features of this monitor. This is a 5.5 inch monitor, I believe, so it's nice and small, similar to the size of like the new Small HD Action 5 or the original Small HD Focus 5. So very much in that form factor, which I really like. And it's got 1000 nits brightness. So 1000 nits, I feel like, is the bare minimum at this point. I don't think I'm ever going to go back to a monitor that only has like 300 or 400 nits of brightness. So you can see this in daylight as long as it's not, you know, high noon, super bright outside. So yeah, like in a day like today, you can easily see this monitor, and it's really easy to check focus, exposure, because it's got all those tools built in. So I do think that there are some really smart design choices when it comes to this Lilmon 5. It's a lot more box shape than their T5 Plus, which I kind of like, so it keeps it a little bit more narrow, and it has the HDMI in and out on the back of the monitor as opposed to it dangling out the side, which I've said before, but I absolutely hate that. There's also a vertically mounted Sony MPF battery plate right here, and there's a DC in port, which I'm actually using to power this monitor off of my little V-mount battery. So it's a really smart design. You can kind of keep the entire monitor setup really nice and compact, and you don't have to have too much weight on the monitor. So yeah, you can power it from a V-mount battery like this. On the side, there is a headphone jack again, so you can monitor audio if your camera doesn't have one. And there is an RS-232 port and a battery out port on this side. And then there's just a really simple power button on the right-hand side. And there's a 1/4-20 screw where you can mount this monitor to the yoke that comes with it. On the bottom, there's another 1/4-20 mount as well with a locating hole, so it's not going to shift around on you. And there's an SD card slot for your LUTs. Okay, so now let's touch on the touchscreen. So yeah, as I said, this is a touchscreen monitor, so that could be a pro or a con for some people. It's really easy to use, and all of the menus are really easy to get to. You don't have to like scroll with a button, but some people might have a problem with touchscreens, especially if you're in a colder environment and you wear gloves a lot. The touchscreen can also get smudges on it because you are obviously going to be touching it to control all of the functions. But something else that this OC Lilmon 5 has is the ability to install LUTs. So if you shoot in log and you'd like to preview what your footage is going to look like, you could install the Rec 709 LUT onto your monitor for your specific camera. But even if you shoot with a camera like me, I shoot with the Panasonic GH3, I can still install a LUT onto this monitor to preview what my footage is going to look like. And a little pro tip is that if you color your stuff with Film Convert Nitrate, which if you don't, I would highly recommend to go pick up Film Convert Nitrate. There's a special link in the description below. With Film Convert Nitrate, something that a lot of people don't realize is that you can actually export a LUT from Film Convert Nitrate and then use it on a monitor like this. So for me, I really like coloring my stuff with the Portra 400 film stock inside of Film Convert Nitrate. And so what I do is I take some very neutrally shot GH3 footage, I grade it with the Portra 400 profile within Film Convert, and then I export that as a LUT, and then I can install it on this Lilmon 5. And then with my GH3 footage, I can kind of preview how it's going to look like because I'll know how I'm going to grade it. So that's just another fun little feature about this Lilmon 5 is that you can install LUTs, and it's actually pretty easy. The one thing I've found is that you will need a 16 gigabyte card. Just put them right onto the root folder, and you should be able to find them pretty easily on this little OC Lilmon 5. Okay, so now let's talk about price and competition. Again, this is going to be released at $189. So that's a really attractive price point for a monitor that gives you 1000 nits brightness, a really intuitive touchscreen, and a lot of professional features. You wouldn't really be able to touch anything from Small HD for that price point. The funny thing is, I think that the biggest competition for this OC Lilmon 5 is actually another product by OC, which I've reviewed, which is the T5 Plus. Now, the T5 Plus has basically all all the same features, the same brightness. It takes 2 different types of batteries, Sony MPF or Canon LPE6, whereas the Lilmon 5 only takes the Sony MPF batteries. But with this, you don't get a touchscreen. The touchscreen on the Lilmon 5 isn't perfect. This is a pre-production model with beta firmware on it. So when it actually gets released, I'm sure a lot of the frustrations that I had using the touchscreen are going to be fixed. But with this, you don't get a touchscreen. You control everything with this little red dial right here. So it really just comes down to personal preference, whether you like touchscreens and the body style of this monitor, or if you like the slightly slimmer, more candy bar design of this T5 Plus and you don't care about touchscreens at all. You could save yourself a little bit of money and go with the T5 Plus, because this is only going to run you $145. So when it comes to other options for low budget video monitors, there are offerings from companies like Best View, Andy Cine, Feel World, but I personally like the OC monitors, mostly because I feel like they do a really good job at really good build quality, really good performance, and also pretty inexpensive. So this Lilmon 5 is only going to be $189, and I think that you're getting a lot for that price point. Hey Jeremy, do I have any time left on this card? So I'm just going to leave you with one more thing. The thing that you really need to know is that I'm actually a